Greetings, weary traveler. Come, warm yourself by the fire, and let us regale you with mighty tales, tales of adventure, tales of heroism, and tales of Tamriel. I am, well, your host, Lotus of Doom. We're missing Ark, as you might be able to tell from the slight change of pitch in voice doing the intro. But we're going to carry on without him. Minimal explosions, probably. And probably a lot of editing on Ark's end once this is done with. With me tonight, though, we have Pixie. Hello.
Hi.
As well as Promethean is joining us again.
Hey, everybody.
So, this was not totally planned. Best wishes to Ark, who I'm pretty sure is unconscious. We kind of lost contact with him a couple hours ago, and it is 6:30 his time, so I wouldn't assume he would be awake for a bit. But we're going to make do without him because in the idea of being consistent and also some decent things worth referencing in a time schedule that we'll be talking about. Not a super involved show, but figured it was worth covering some main points for everybody, and we'll just kind of go from there. I don't have access specifically to all of his back-end stuff because we're not, well, for anybody joining us live, we're actually over on my channel, so I don't have access to the behind-the-scenes stuff quite as much as we normally would. Yeah, so if you left us an iTunes review, are a recent Patreon or Twitch supporter, we will be combining you all into next week's thank yous because I can't see that stuff right now because I'm not on his back end style. That sounds weird. Okay.
I will say, in terms of, in terms of the things that
go on, recover from that.
We do have a really fancy Guar. That's really cool. I'm really sorry, everybody.
Crushed it.
That was like olive oil falling off of my counter into my sink.
What? Okay, is that what I was like, is Lux about to kill you?
No, it just like shattered a plate in my sink, you guys. I was going to say we have a really nice Guar logo. But this is going to get added in out, I assume.
We also have dark anchors, literally during the show, just dropping.
Anyways.
Was Ark spirit coming to watch?
So enjoy all of this, Ark. You got a lot to work with.
Let me clean up the ceramic in my house while you guys continue.
Yeah. Let's see. How do we go from there? We've had destruction, weird out-of-context innuendo thing, and a bunch of disasters to start. Sounds exactly like a normal Tales show. Yeah. All right. This is... We'll just move on while Promethean picks up parts of his house, and we'll just go from there. Pixie, for the sake of maybe you'll bring some good luck by speaking, you want to clue us in on either the housing contest info or the free pet stuff? Are you aware of either of those
I'm aware of the free pet. So I heard about the housing contest and thought, I don't have my new house yet, so I'm going to just ignore this until I get a new house.
Fair.
And so then I did read about the free pet. So I don't know the exact name. Let me open this thing. This is very smooth.
It's a little flaming Dwemer dude.
Yeah, it's a Dwemer spider, and it's called the Infernium Dwarven Spiderling, and he looks really, really cool. He has flamey feet, and he's red, and it looks like a Dwemer spiderling that is partially ignited. I think there's a mount that looks similar to this too, so this is the matching pet to that mount if I'm not just making stuff up.
Well, it's also like the inverse of the ice one you get from Frostvault. That?
Yes.
Yeah, it's like that one's all covered in ice, this one's on fire, and kind of like the show. Yeah. And the one you get from Razak's wheel is, I think, just a generic one. Like, it's just the flat image of him, so.
Mm-hmm.
Now, to get this, it's super simple. You just go to your account on elderscrollsonline.com, make sure your email is verified, and then once you have a verified email, and there's detailed instructions that I can go into, actually, it like links to a help article and a form if you need to recover your account. But there's detailed instructions. Anyway, go to the site, make sure your email is verified. Once your email is verified, log into your account and navigate to the options menu and then select your account. From there, under marketing preferences, tick the box saying that you want to receive marketing emails, and then you should be getting the pet soon. Make sure you click the save button. I was already subscribed to their marketing emails because I like seeing things delivered into my emails because that's the only way I see them half the time, unless I'm just really on top of Twitter that day. But it looks really cool. Definitely worth it. I mean, their emails aren't super obtrusive.
Yeah, I actually have been signed up for this because I'm a big fan of like the physical swag stuff, like the banners, and eventually I'll get my urn that everybody else keeps pointing out is super awesome. I was going to say, Promethean, you'll be able to show yours.
I don't think you can see it. You kind of can back over.
Oh,
there.
I see it.
Yeah, no, I see it.
I'll
yeah,
bring it up.
I was going to say, you'll need to
it
have that in your Tales and you can just show it for anybody that's watching. But yeah, I haven't gotten mine yet. But for all that good stuff that I spend way too much money on, yeah, that's why I've been part of their marketing program for a while. So I guess now I just like, I don't know. I suppose I should re-verify it, so maybe they give me this.
I will say, Mr. Crowley asked in chat, the codes will come to your email at sometime in July.
Oh, yeah,
okay.
I haven't gotten it yet.
Yeah, just it looks like as long as you're verified before July 1st, you're all set.
So that's that. And then Promethean, do you want to go over the housing?
Yeah, sure. I had all of this ready until disaster struck. So in celebration of Greymoor releasing, there's a housing contest. It runs until Friday, July 3rd. That's when it ends. So you have until then to submit one screenshot per category of your home or room that embraces there's two different themes that you can design for. You can design for a home fit for a vampire, for either a single vampire lord or an entire brood. And the second one is a Nord homestead, a lodging that would make any true Nord proud. There's a link to the rules on the web page. So for you PC players who are using add-ons to make your housings, you have to disable any add-ons.
Hold on. Apparently you guys disappeared. What the F?
Oh no.
Neat.
What?
Huh.
Did you click off of... Did you unmaximize us?
No, you're totally my entire screen. Can you still hear them? I can. Okay, so you're still
I feel
able to
like
be
the universe
heard.
is telling us to go to bed.
Right, what is going on? Like, yeah, okay, so continue on, I guess, because they can hear you. Sorry for the audio. Okay, I don't understand why your images just disappeared, but...
Welcome to the Lotus show.
Can hear them, just can't see them. Okay, great.
Okay.
Sure.
So, if you use add-ons, just make sure that they're all disabled before you submit your screenshot. Otherwise, it doesn't say you're disqualified, but I assume that would disqualify you. If anyone is familiar on Twitter, the judge, so it's going to be judged by the ESO dev team and stream team member J. Hart Ellis, who is on Twitter often has, or I think everything has the Minotaur helmet. It's like a gold Minotaur helmet, and I believe that is them.
Yeah, that's him.
The packages, the winners. So there are 2 grand prize winners. I assume one for each category. You get some really nice things if you're really good at housing. 21,000 crowns. A house of your choice that can literally be any house ever released in ESO history, even if it's already gone. Like, it's no longer being sold. It's no longer in rotation. You get the Vampiric Sovereign statue digital. You get a Elder Scrolls Online Greymoor Digital Collector's Edition, the Vampiric Libations bundle, and a music box of your choice, which also includes previous limited time offers. There will be 4 runners-up who also get some pretty nice rewards. You also get 5,500 crowns, the Greymoor Digital Collector's Edition again, and a music box of your choice. Once again, any of these. Let's see, the Vampiric Libations bundle and Vampiric Sovereign statue, they noted, are planning to be released into the Crown Store later. So if you don't win, you will have a chance to get those at the very least, if you are really into vampires. And then on that same page, they have the submission box, I guess, where you put all of your information and upload your screenshot right on there with all the rules and everything for you. They don't give like a date other than the end date. There's no like date that they're judging or something, but at some point after July 3rd, I assume, is when they'll do it. So that's it on that one as well.
Cool.
Hey, we made it back onto the stream. We're just really huge again.
Yep. Fixing that. So I don't need to go into this too much, but apparently Discord just deleted you. Like, that's just some... Ark likes to do the behind the scenes bits. Well, the behind the scenes bit on that one was it just straight up deleted you. That's what happened. I found the display box, and you were just straight up like minimized to the point where it was so small I couldn't grab the pixels to extend it anymore.
Oh my god!
No idea why it did that. So we got that going for us. There's
Next
behind
time,
the scenes
if you go into properties, you can actually manually set pixels.
I was doing that, and it kept so all it did was highlight the black square around us, but not any of you. So, yeah, we got that.
Never mind.
Yep. So we got that. Piece of cake. Whatever, you're
so
back. And everything is slowly burning away. Anyways. Yeah, so that is pretty much all of the news from this week. I have no shot at winning the housing thing, like, at all. But I'm still going to enter. I don't even know how to take a... So I already have a Nordic mead hall built for my main house. But it's, like, it's not like one of the biggest houses. It's a Quantum Mineralia one. So I'm like, I guess I'll just take this and just enter it for the sake of entering it or whatever. It's a base game house and stuff. But at the same time, even though it's not like one of the mega houses, it stretches so long. I'm like, how would I get all of this in one screenshot anyways? Yeah. So if you have a really impressive place, I have no idea how you are supposed to accomplish taking all of that into one photo.
That was kind of my question. If you do have a really awesome place, please just share it on the internet. I really want to see your houses.
Yes.
Just share it, literally tag Tales, and I will come search and find it. Yeah. Because I would love to see it.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. It's just, I may be equally impressed just from people who find a way to take a photo. It's like, man, not only is your house better than mine, it's also somehow photoed with one picture and is still more impressive than if you walked through mine in like a video format or something like that. So, yeah, some of the housing mancers are incredible on this game. So, who knows? Probably going to see some really cool stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have no chance at winning either.
Yeah,
that's why. I have the Alanor Crest townhouse. Mm-hmm. I do have Autumn's Gate, which is Nordic, but I don't think I'd be able to make anything impressive there. That would be even close.
I own so many houses. You'd think I'd do something with them. We went over this a few shows ago, but instead they're all just empty and abandoned. But yeah, let's see. I guess based on that, then we are going to let's see if I can get all of these to open in time. So. This isn't so much, I guess this is kind of a discussion topic / sort of lore lesson, because we kind of don't focus on just like lore stuff on this show. Some shows, lore seekers, have their own lore lesson. The Elder Scrolls lore cast, that's the entire focus of the show, which is fine. I almost think that if that's what you're looking for, as opposed to dumpster fire version of a conversational podcast, you would go there. But you come here for something less informative. The only thing is, what with all of the previous shows combined, I thought it might be interesting to just bring up something that a lot of people might not know about, and personally, I thought it was very, very interesting. And that is the fact that between Ark's eternal quest to get his shield, and failing, to date, even though he's not here, I'll fill in the blank for you, still doesn't have it, last I talked to him. I don't know.
That's why he needed to sleep.
Yeah, I don't even know if he's just given up hope or what, but so his eternal quest to get this shield, the fact that I had mentioned a little while ago doing both the Scale Caller and Fang Layer Big 3 achievements of Speedrun No Death Hard Mode, and Pixie, you ended up going through, you got your Scale Caller one. Actually, I think it might have been the same week as me. I think we did it like...
I think so.
Yeah, we did it like the same week on that. And then, have you... I know you had originally messed around with Fang Layer, but had less than optimal results. Have you tried again or not so much yet?
I haven't tried again.
Yeah.
We rage quit.
I feel like replicating how quickly we got through all three of those would be very complicated, because it seemed way too easy that we did it sub like 2 hours. I'm like, that seems like that shouldn't have happened. I think we got pretty lucky or something. But both of those dungeons generally being not only good dungeons, they're older now. They're known for being pretty challenging, specifically the Fang Layer hard mode. But like, the amount of people whose favorite dungeon is Scale Caller Peak is, like, that's still considered pretty much one of the top tier dungeons. And personally, I liked Fang Layer quite a bit. I'm a little hit or miss on the walls in hard mode. That doesn't really do it for me, but the rest of the fight I like. Yeah, not a fan of the random walls, but whatever the case. But yeah, so the reason I figured I would make reference to these yet again is the fact that the story to them is pretty interesting. The thing is, Fang Layer was, to anybody who follows any of the Tragic Arena stuff I do, Fang Layer is actually in Elder Scrolls 1 Arena. It's a callback from that game. They had made a reference to it way back at, when it was being released, I believe, that it was one of the OG dungeons that was being brought back, and it certainly was. It certainly looks different as well, but at the same time, it's a nod back to an original game, which this game has a lot of them. And I figure I'm just going to give you a brief little synopsis history of it. It's shout out to our friends over at the Unofficial Elder Scrolls pages, where they gave us very handy little reference points. Kiz is in chat. Thanks, Kiz. So appreciate you guys condensing all of this, and I've got the history of Zahn the Scale Caller, which is the book you can actually get that gives you the story that connects Zahn to the dragon Throvakin of Fang Layer, which, to be fair, as many times as I've played those, until recently, did not know that connection was even there. So, the basis of Fang Layer, it was, we'll just do a quick thing. It was, back in the first era, there was, well, it was controlled by a dragon, much farther along. I can actually do a quick, I'll just do it verbatim so I don't have to try to stumble my way through ad-libbing stuff, because that's never a good way of doing things. Sometime early in the early First Era, the Dwarven clan Kragan followed the path of Rorkin. By the way, my pronunciation of these, I apologize in advance. Can't do it. And migrated west to Morrowind. They settled in the Reach region of Skyrim, founding a city called Arkhaniir. Yeah, right. Okay. Crush that one. Thanks to the discovery of Ethereum deposits, the city flourished and soon allied with the cities of Mizolft, Betharmzel. Yeah, I was going to say. And Ralbethar. Oh my god, these names. Not enough rocks in my mouth trying to pronounce these. In an attempt to study the wondrous material. For this purpose, the Alliance built the Ethereum Forge beneath the ruins of Bethalth in the Rift. The Ethereum Forge, same one from the expansion that you can play through in Skyrim, which I strongly suggest you trigger it by opening the book The Ethereum Wars, and goes on a pretty cool quest. What was that, Promethean?
It's so cool.
Yeah.
I literally only craft the crown every time.
So it's the exact same. It's the same thing I do because it lets you use a second Mundus stone, which is amazing. It's basically a walking twice-born star.
Yeah, it also just looks really cool compared to the other ones. Like,
yep.
I don't know.
No, it definitely does.
So
skipping ahead because I'm not going to just literally read you verbatim the entire article. The city eventually got laid completely to waste by the dragon Throvakin, who you'll know from Fang Lair as the undead one, the bone skeleton one, that is resurrected. At that point, the dungeon, well, I guess it becomes a dungeon. The city is sacked and laid to waste, and the name Fang Lair is adopted. One of the stories tells of a golden dragon inhibiting Fang Lair, who encountered Morlin and allowed him to take the ebony sword after they removed the cursed tooth from his mouth. So there's some other side stories to it. But the main point of this is the dragon Throvakin here. So he is, as we know, the, I guess, sort of main boss. He's possessed, so it's not the original dragon. It's the bone version of him as he's been passed away by Orin the Black, who was part of the Black Marrow cult, which gives you that creepy, not skin, but personality, if you can get the trifecta, or big three, I guess, because you don't technically need to do them all at the same time. That's just a quick synopsis of Fang Lair. And what I wanted to do now is just reference Zahn the Scalecaller, who is the one we always joke about screaming my shield, and most people know, up on the cliff for the final boss fight of Scalecaller's Peak. This is the book that you can actually get, which was written by Jorvald DeVoe. Yeah, all right.
He's the NPC in the dungeon.
Correct. Okay, I was gonna say. I just didn't know if that's how you could say his name.
Yeah.
So actually, you know what? You're our resident reader. Promethean. Any chance you want to read this?
Yeah.
Perfect. I was gonna say I much prefer listening to you read stories than myself.
Yeah. Sure thing. I actually had the other article open because I was reading her dialogue.
Oh, yeah. We can make reference to the dialogue, but I just love this book that it exists. It's sort of a book, sort of a couple pages from the book, because obviously I didn't type the whole thing, but...
So, if anyone is looking to... I think I'll just throw this out there. If you're looking to find it in-game, it's going to be, I assume, the blue lore book in the dungeon.
I believe
it's located next to your...
Yeah, I was going to say, I believe it's pretty close to the beginning. If I'm not mistaken.
Like right there.
Yeah, it's like almost before you even start the time trial. I feel like you encounter the first set of ads to start the timer if you're going for speedrun. I think it's before that, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. Right. So it says Zahn the Scalecaller was a dragon priest of short life and little renown. She commanded no great battles, conquered no powerful enemies. At just a glance, one would think her unremarkable, unworthy of further inspection. Certainly that has been the viewpoint of historians up to this point, given the lack of academia written on her. However, the fact that Zahn's story has been so ignored is exactly what makes her such a fascinating subject. Zahn was uncommonly young when chosen by her dragon lord, the mighty Dova Thurvakun. It is said that her connection to Thurvakun was particularly strong. As we know, there's much speculation on the connection between a dragon and their chosen priest, whether it be spiritual, magical, or perhaps merely political. Whatever the case, Zaan grew a rapid and robust attachment, which her followers took as a sign of great fortune. For a decade or so, all was well. The turmoil began when Thurvakun left his temple for reasons unknown to all but perhaps Zaan herself. By all accounts, it was the departure that led to the dragon priest's steady decline into a depressive state, though it's uncertain whether this was magically or psychologically induced. The depression brought about frequent seclusion, growing into a steady isolation. Her followers slowly grew discontent, and as time went by, many became mistrustful. They believed that Thurvakun had abandoned them, and saw this with the despair that we today would see the loss of the divines. They began to accuse Scalecaller of driving him away with her weakness. When confronted with these accusations, it is said that Scalecaller made no protest. Her followers took this as admittance and killed her in their anger. This led us to Zaan's greatest mystery. When accused by her followers, why did she not defend herself? My theory, though mostly speculative, is that the dragon priest simply was not able. The loss of her dragon lord had brought upon such misery that she had lost her will, or perhaps even her ability to speak. Again, whether this was brought upon by magical means or mere psychological trauma, I am still unsure. I believe through studying this historical occurrence, we may gain further insight into the link between dragon priests and their dragon lords. We must look past the rudimentary political aspects of such a relationship to see what lies beyond. What precisely was this spiritual connection so highly revered? With Scalecoller's help, we can begin to answer that question.
Yes.
I actually kind of feel bad for her.
I know.
now.
It's kind of sad that she just basically gives up hope, and then in her sadness, provided it's that and not some type of weird Daedric trick, because as it's mentioned, it's not sure whether it's magical or if she's just kind of like sad over this. She turns to Periite, who, if anybody's going to degrade like your mental state, it's probably going to be Periite.
Yeah.
Because Periite is a mess.
I guess I am confused. And I guess maybe Yorvald's just kind of dumb. I don't really know him as a scholar. But like, she is clearly still alive, so why is it that everyone thinks that they killed her?
So
Was she reborn?
I was going to
That's
say,
what I am.
my assumption is that since you can't really see her too well, she's got like the Dragon Priest mask on, she's pretty well covered.
Right.
I assume that through Periite and all of that, and there's so much plague and corruption going on, that she's like a reanimated husk of what she previously was kind of just the impression I got from it. I mean, it doesn't say that, but that's kind of what I just always assumed was the case. Because if you kill her, you get like infected flesh or rotting flesh is the piece or something like that. I think that's infected flesh. Sorry. So that could be from her rotting away because one, Periite's known for disease, pestilence, all that good stuff, or if she's basically a zombie, which is going to go hand in hand with that type of thing as well. It kind of fits hand in hand. So I just assumed it was Periite almost brought her back with some degree of powers since she was, worshiping him toward the end since she was all distraught and stuff. Don't know whether to view that as a bonus or a punishment. Because I don't know why anybody, out of all the Daedric princes, like Periite, really Periite? That's who you're going to go with?
I mean, I will say, have you ever just had a really just bad week at work and you wake up and you're like, man, I almost wish I had a slight cold so that way I had a good excuse to not go to work today. I feel like those people could see a benefit to Periite just for that one day.
Could we also make the argument that Zaan was really never working since she never accomplished anything?
Yeah,
True.
There's also
She
that.
accomplished kicking my butt several times.
This is true. She has kicked mine too.
Several confirmed kills on all of us.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of a neat little story that it ties both of those dungeons in, because the dungeons have these stories hidden to them that a lot of people don't realize are there sometimes. And I really appreciate that everything in this game has some type of tie-in to something else. So it's like the fact that just both of these dungeons, which we've just been recently talking about a lot, have such like a lore-based history, and most people are like, yeah, it's the poison dungeon or it's the one with the walls that kill you and the dragon. It's like, yep, those are the descriptions of those dungeons.
So this is really interesting. I'm just looking at Zahn's page that tells you like all about her. If you scroll all the way to the bottom, there's a really interesting, I guess, note that Zahn is the only dragon priest who is a woman.
I was wondering because
that also always threw me, and I was like, this is weird.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. I never considered that, because I guess all of them in Skyrim were male.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Oh. Yeah.
Maybe I shouldn't hate her as much as I do.
She brings diversity to Tamriel. Well, before she died. Twice.
She did bring diversity to
twice.
Tamriel. I mean, so we've all heard my struggles with Scale Collar Peak.
That's what inspired just bringing up these stories.
So, I mean, the dungeon's really fun, but it just makes me want to throw things whenever I attempt that hard mode.
That hard mode makes my brain hurt, for sure.
It's real difficult. But, like, at the beginning of the story, I felt super bad for her, and now it's like, she's the only female dragon priest that we know of, even though she was a minor dragon priest. Like, it's super cool. Like, the story, she was chosen way younger than most dragon priests, so there was something special that Thorvokun must have seen in her. And the fact that everyone just turned on her so fast and she wasn't able to defend herself because she either could not speak, which she does mention referencing her voice, which I always thought to mean she had no more, like, Thum, like she could not shout anymore.
Right.
But she might have just been unable to speak entirely. So I always make the joke whenever I go in there that she just sounds like somebody whose boyfriend left her, and I just never really paid attention in the dungeon, apparently.
Well, she sounds super emo because it's like...
She does.
I mean, she's in her basement writing poetry about Thorvokun, pretty much. Like, this is her life.
We also only ever quote the first part of her line about her shield, but she's like, how dare you make me drop it? Like, she's like, literally just pity.
Yeah,
like,
no, she's a sad character. She is a very sad character.
I never actually picked up this book and read it, and I never really thought too much into the dragon plus dragon priest connection. I always just thought it was a political thing, just as a way for dragons to kind of make other humans submit, because they're more likely to listen to another human than the giant scaly lizard thing. So that was I didn't realize they had, like, it reminds me of, I don't know if you guys read the Inheritance cycle, Aragon and all of them. Well, they had, like, this emotional connection to their dragons, but it almost reminds me of kind of an evil, twisted version of that. Which is pretty cool. And so now I kind of want to Google more about this tomorrow morning, because this is super interesting all of a sudden.
I was also under the impression that, like, we knew why. I thought Thorvokun goes to conquer whatever settlement is in Fanglair at the time that he leaves. Oh,
when he left, yes, he was sacking the place to make it his own. And I don't know. The thing is, well, that's how it was referenced, which I just wonder if did Zahn know that, or did any of her followers know that, or was he just kind of like, peace out, everybody, and he takes off to go do his own thing and leaves them without any type of connection? That's kind of the thing. It's just, I wonder if he started to do his own thing and left her behind, because theoretically Fanglair isn't within, I mean, you can travel anywhere in these games and the other characters do, but it's not within, like, default traveling distance of one another. So maybe it wasn't even meant to be a secret. He just didn't bother telling her, and she didn't handle that too well, and the followers immediately turned on her.
Well, I think too, because it was referenced that he had a cursed tooth. So dragon had, even if it's just a normal infection, that that cursed tooth, like infected teeth have killed people.
Yeah.
So he went there. If he has a tooth that he's calling cursed, then he was not only in excruciating pain, but he was probably a little bit weaker than he should have been. So after he had the tooth pulled, he might have had some recovery time, and then he was killed. So he might have told her, "Hey, I'm going here, BRB," and then just never came back.
Right.
So this is. Oh, go ahead.
So cursed tooth. Infection.
Yeah.
Periite drove him out so that way he could take over Zahn.
That's what I was literally just going to say.
Yeah, I was going to let you finish that too. And I'm like, well, the thing is that I guess maybe that has more of a connection than maybe we even realize is even... Look, to anybody who's a big fan of Periite, my apologies, but even a Putz Daedric Prince like... Periite, I'm assuming has some grand plans for things. The Beggar Prince, if people have ever read that book, is a perfect example of how even Periite has long-standing plans to mess with people. So it's a Daedric thing. They like doing that. This might have been a long play for Periite, and it just came across like, oh, this is a tragic set of events. Like, oh, how unfortunate. When it was like, Periite could have started something way back at the start and was just playing the really long game to get what they wanted out of the situation. Who knows? And, that's why I also had to take Spellbreaker away from Zahn because she doesn't deserve it. It's mine. It's my shield.
It would also... You're turning into Ark now. It would also make sense because Periite likes to present himself as a dragon. So, of course, he'd go after he wants his own dragon priest. Because he envies the power of the dragons, because he is a minor Daedric prince.
Yeah.
He's kind of overlooked. I remember reading something. Yeah, I read him about something. I read something about him in Skyrim where he kind of presents himself as a dragon because he's kind of self-conscious about the whole. He's kind of a very.
I don't know what that's from, but that sounds familiar.
I know I read it somewhere. Yeah. But because he's so minor, he likes to present himself as this big dragon. And so this could just be like trying to feed his own ego. Mm-hmm. And so he's like, okay, he's going to go off doing his own thing. I can give him an infected tooth, which is going to either keep him gone long enough to where I can deal with this lady and get her to work with me instead, or he'll just kill him.
Right.
And it worked out in his favor. So I think we cracked the code here, guys.
Yeah.
I think we got it.
So... to anybody listening, if you have input on this situation, because this is a little different than we usually do, what with this being like a lore dive on a specific set of books / dungeons, if anybody has any input on any of that and have your own theories, so feel free to shoot us your ideas or any of that. Chat's had a few different ones as well floating around, so yeah, let us know what you think. See if that makes sense. Do you have your own theory or anything like that? It's just something I felt was kind of worth noting as a couple overlooked stories to a character we like to rip on a whole bunch that's actually pretty interesting if you look into the character story from either of those dungeons. Because in the end, I mean, Throvakin kind of gets made into a chump needing to be like a marionette for Orin the Black there. Because that's going to be an insulting way to go for a dragon.
I mean, he had to go find a dragon dentist, so...
Yeah, he had to go find a dragon dentist. Then he dies and gets reanimated by some creeper looking to resurrect a cult. It's like, oh, cool, I'll just make this dude dance around for my entertainment. It's like, oof. That's a pretty big fall from grace, I'd imagine, from a dragon's perspective.
Yeah.
All right. So
I liked that, though. That was fun.
Yeah.
I learned things.
Something of note. Yeah, and to be fair, I'm sure there's tons more hidden things just in other dungeon It makes me curious now more on like some of the dungeon combos they pick. Mm-hmm. Some of the, like the Wrathstone ones and the Scalebreaker ones, they have more direct connections now that they're part of the seasons. Even though the dungeon packs didn't necessarily go right into what we were doing, they were almost like, here's two side stories. and then here's your chapter, here's your end thing. That's fine, because now they are much more integrated. But it was interesting to note that obviously, going back, they had these things intertwined with each other prior to as well. So it's like, oh, wow, now it's almost like they just wanted to bring more focus to it with the whole seasons that they have going now.
Yeah.
So I guess on that note, it will bring us to our Tales section, which anybody want to volunteer to discuss their week in Elder Scrolls?
Mine's pretty short and sweet, so I can go ahead and go first.
Sure.
So we decided on Sunday to go into Vet Sunspire with the Lore Seekers trial progression team on PCNA. We needed to get a couple people geared out before we reattempt VKA. I mean, we all know that one kind of gets a little bit buggy. Those audio glitches in VKA kind of make it a little bit difficult. So we just wanted to make sure everybody was fully geared out and we were good to go before jumping back into VKA. So we were in VSS and everything was going okay. We get to Locestus, the ice dragon. He just starts yelling the entire time. So it was nothing but Locestus going,
yeah,
at us the whole time. Which just is this deafening sound. I mean, we beat him. It wasn't a problem. Kind of. It was just, it was one of those obnoxious things. It's like, Locestus, you're actually a really designed character, and I usually really like you, and I enjoy listening to all the crap you talk and all that. I genuinely love Locestus. Mm-hmm. But my God, I was so frustrated by him just yelling at me the whole time. So we did find out that you could get rid of that glitch by opening your champion point menu and then closing it. But that's a little hard to do in the middle of combat, and it comes back each time.
For sure, I did not know that was a thing. Like, I'm pretty glad that I learned this, because I haven't had it I just had it happen in Sunspire this week as well, but I've actually had it on Overland bosses. And Zone Chat is horrified. I think I have the first time it ever happened. Literally, the dragon died, and everybody just started looking at each other because it wouldn't shut up. And people just started fleeing in all directions, and Zone Chat everybody's just like, WTF, like, what is happening? So
loud.
It's really loud.
It's so obnoxious.
God.
They just like, it's like a dragon death metal concert, and they just have endless lung capacity.
Yeah, it's extreme.
Yeah, it's intense. So that made that part of the dungeon less than pleasant. I feel bad for anyone. I know Solus Gaming was streaming our run and streaming his run with his other guild because they've been doing hard mode progression.
Oh, nice.
And it's nice until you think about he was saying to his chat. Oh yeah, that's it. But he was telling his chat, like, this has to be real pleasant for you guys to listen to. So anybody who's streaming that right now, it's like, wow, the audio quality is real interesting here. So it'd be really funny to get like super creative, and whenever the glitch starts, like cue up some audio of like, you know, that annoying goat noise from that one video.
Oh my God.
Because that's what I was thinking the whole time it was happening. And I really want to like clip it and just kind of superimpose that audio over it, because it has the same effect to my ears. So yeah, that was, I don't even remember if, I knew we had some issues that in one of our tanks, his moves haven't been firing. He wasn't able to block or dodge roll, which is kind of essential to a tank. But
pretty necessary.
Yeah, that was fixed at some point. We were able to clear the fire dragon, but I think we ran out of time because of all the little issues we were having here and there. But we've cleared it before, so it's just dealing with glitches and disconnects and all that. We just had to go to bed because we had to work in the morning.
For sure.
So then yesterday, I got a message from Dana Timken asking if I would mind running Vet Depths of Malatar with him. This was a while ago. And I didn't have the chance that week because I had some stuff going on. But this week I had time. So I was like, on Friday, like, it's a Friday night. I can stay up as late as we need to. Let's go in and get the clear. He had done it before, but he needed the helm. And then we brought in, so I know him as Kinara, but he recently started streaming and changed his name to Starfallen Games. So Dana Timken, Starfallen Games, and my God, I'm blanking on the last one. Who came with, Wandering Bard from the Lore Seekers. That's who we brought in with us. So we went in and we did clear it. We stuttered a bit on the first boss just because he puts out so much damage. But switched some things around. We were fine. It was actually it was such a bug-free dungeon run. So the only ones holding us back were ourselves on the first boss. And after that first boss, all the other ones went down quick. I think we had to deal with what is his name? The king in there, who's a jerk. Thank you. He's a jerk, and he duplicates himself a lot. He took a couple of tries, but it was nowhere near. I think I died 26 times, and at least 15 of them were on the first boss. For whatever reason, that was just the hardest one to us that night.
That is interesting that was your hold-up point, because I'm not going to lie, I don't consider that a very difficult boss. I was really waiting to see. I know a lot of people have issues with the boss that splits, the Alien King you were just mentioning, but I always find, other than hard mode, which is a disaster in my opinion. Well, the first half is a snore fest, and the second half is World War III. So I like it. But
not a good time.
Yeah, that aside, I was very curious how you were going to do with the orb boss, and you crushed it. I was like, that is easily, I think, the hardest boss in there. And I was like, well, you guys melted that. Touche. It's like,
I have no idea what happened on the first boss. We just kept dying.
Yep.
So I do pugs all the time because it's apparently fun for me, I guess. But I get stuck at the first boss with pug groups all the time.
Yeah, I feel like we were staying together. We were moving as a group. But I think what would happen is I think we all thought we could absorb more damage than we actually could. And then I couldn't heal through things for the tank. And so once the tank started dodge rolling out of it, and like moving back and not getting stuck on walls, because when there's lots of line of sight things going on, we lost some people because I was trying to like round a curve, and then so things got better and I slotted a ranged interrupt, and Dana started back rolling out of the poison or side rolling, and we just paid attention to our positioning a little bit better because we just kept getting hit by the poison. That was just wiping us out. The second the tank would die, the creeper would just look right at me or freaking Arma and just wipe us out. I remember looking at him like, oh no, and trying so hard to stay alive. And just wasn't working because I tried to build ulti because I had my necro res, and it was a nightmare for a little while. And then he died, and the rest of the dungeon felt really easy. King kind of sucks, but he always does. The orb boss was the easiest in the whole thing. Yeah, I don't know. It was very strange, but we had a blast. Really fun group of people, and yeah. So that's how yesterday went. It took us a couple hours, but we did it.
I got a question for you, just because. One of the things most people know, and the other one I actually am curious because I just learned it on some of our previous runs when we were originally trying to practice to get the no deaths and the hard modes in there and stuff like that. So King Naramor, or Nalamor, whatever, the Alien King. So obviously if you, or not obviously, but if you hit him with the elemental drain, it will follow the correct one, right? So
right.
Okay, so that obviously very useful. One thing that I had no idea about prior to, and it looks like you have the headset to account for it, does that have directional audio in it?
It does.
Only the real one talks.
What?
Yeah, it's
only the real one talks.
So I have a question.
Yes.
And this is something that I asked. So I asked it on stream, and we were just like, I don't know, and just kind of started killing everyone. And so this is going to make me seem kind of stupid because I've done this dungeon multiple times. I clearly have the skin. But I just kind of spam heals through that whole thing. because I've never gone in there on anything else. Do the DPS need to kill all of the copies, or do they just focus the real one? What's the purpose of marking the real one if you still have to kill everybody?
So, I'll have somewhat of a skewed opinion on this because I've only ever done this place once with a healer.
That doesn't surprise me.
I know.
Shocked expression.
Very. So the general approach that I go with is they want to start teeing off on the real one so that you can crack its shield the fastest and start producing real damage to it. My job is to get the other 3 of them on him so they will die to AoEs. But you want to focus on dropping him down because it'll be less phases, so you'll get less ads, etc., etc., etc. That's what I always try to do. So it's like I will range taunt one of them, and then I will pull the other 2, like range taunt them as well, and I will run into a corner, and they will kind of follow you because that's where their leash range is. Once they're as close as they can, I then run to the opposite diagonal corner while they're all still aggroed to me, and they will chase me again, and they will, provided they don't freak out, they will cluster into a little square in the middle of the map, so they're all on top of each other. And then you can just nuke all 4 of them at the same time, with your focus being on the main one, so he will be taking persistent damage while deleting the other 3 while you work on it.
Okay, that's actually a really smart way to do it.
That's the idea behind it, at least. And yeah, I was going to say, the directional audio thing is amazing when you know it's there. It was Hazardous Misfit who actually found that in our group. He noticed that it was just like, wait, if you turn, you can only hear one of them. The other 3 are mute. So
wow.
Even if you lose visual on it, just have it like you could, with what's happening, it's just like, where is the volume coming from? And you can literally just turn in the direction of the volume and that'll be the correct one. So yeah.
That's really helpful. I'm going to have to try to pay attention to that.
It makes it much easier for not getting overwhelmed during the fight, at least.
Also, why on earth is Therias the hardest part of the dungeon, other than the first boss for whatever reason? Why is Therias so hard to heal?
So, I've tried to heal this. Don't heal her. It's not worth it.
Thank you. That makes me feel better. I'm never healing her again. She doesn't deserve it.
It's not worth it because I've tried, and you can't, like, I would dump my Magicka pool on her. Nothing. Nothing.
So,
and I would be so frustrated.
Not that I am not a healer, so I will not pretend to have any insight on this. However, one of the runs, I will shout out the fact that she is pretty much an all-star healer. She's one of our vet trials healers from APF. She came in to help with our no-death run, and I have no idea how you produce the healing levels that she does, almost all of the time. But during that combat fight, Theriah beat the crap out of the guy. Her health bar never moved. And I'm like, what is even happening? So
I don't know how she did it.
Yeah, neither do I. And yeah, she turned away from us for a minute, and we just saw her spamming a bunch of stuff, and her health bar doesn't move, and she just chucked the dude against the wall. And I was like, oh, that's what's supposed to happen? I had no idea.
No, she drops so fast, and then she just requires so much healing.
I didn't get it.
I would have my teammates group up on her and pop a barrier on all of us, so that way they were shielded, and Theriah had somewhat of a shield for 4 seconds, like a half a second, so I could keep healing her while they had a barrier, because I could not figure out how to do it.
Yeah.
Because I had heard that if you wait until her health gets really low, she's then healable. That you shouldn't even try until her health gets low, and then you just get her up a little bit to where she doesn't completely die. Which that was my strategy, and I could keep her from completely dying. I don't know. She knelt down, but it looked like she was above 0 the whole time, and so that was just the strategy I took, is I'd toss her a heal at the last second and just cross my fingers and hope the rest of the group didn't die, because I screwed up.
Yeah, for sure.
And Yeah, and then there's just the amount of damage in that dungeon altogether.
Oh, yeah.
So you're having to dump all your magicka on Thoraya, while the rest of your group is just
We're getting hit by lightning
SOL.
and ice. Yeah.
You need to literally dump all of your magicka on Thoraya and then subsequently dump it all on your teammates.
Yes.
Which is impossible.
Right, because
Right.
that's just it. There's the lightning, there's the ice, there's the 9,000 Dawnbreakers that all of the Auroran-style characters have in that dungeon. Whereas
The
a main
fire.
tank, it's just like, oh, I'm going to kite everything in for you. Dawnbreaker, 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 Dawnbreaker. It's like, all right, that's enough with the Dawnbreakers. Like, I have that move, it's not that good. Like, give me a break. It's a good move, but give me a break here. Like,
If you talk to your healer soon, please ask her what kind of sorcery she has done.
I will. I will.
Because I need to know.
I will find out what her thing is. Shout out to Celeste. That's who our healer is. And yeah, she's the only time and that's how that it was mentioned in chat that there is an achievement. I don't know. Mention what its name is. Soulmates achievement. Okay, that's the only reason I have that. Is literally the one run that I was like, wait, I got an achievement for something. Like, what did I do? So yeah, it's nuts.
So the only other thing I did, and this was today, I've been steadily chipping away between antiquities and Hero Storm distractions and dungeons and all that, slowly chipping away at the Western Skyrim Grand Adventurer achievement because I have the money for Proudspire Manor to buy it with gold, but I don't have the achievement needed. So I've been working on that. I've just been doing a lot of side quests, just kind of taking my time with them. I did do the Rigger the Brash side quest, and I don't want to spoil it for anybody else, but it was hysterical, kind of as expected. I really liked it. It was
Rigger's
great.
The best.
Yeah.
He's so ridiculous.
If you haven't done it already, I really recommend doing Gwendis's side quest down in Blackreach. There was a part in that just like, it was real creepy. And the way they upped the creep factor for Greymoor as a whole, with the sounds they're choosing, with the way this voice actress was just incredible at the part I'm talking about. And I promise you, if you know this quest or if you do it in the future, you're going to know what I'm referencing. It was incredible. It was seriously giving me chills, and I had a jacket on, and it was just
Real life
it
chills.
was intense. Yeah, real life chills. It was intense. And I think that one's one of my favorite little side quest moments that I've had in a while. And it brought you to really cool places in Greymoor Keep that were really interesting. It was really cool. Go do that quest. I highly recommend it. I have mentioned, I think, on the show in the past that I struggle with maps, and that problem is greatly amplified in Blackreach. So I stumbled around for a real long time.
That place is
on another
rough
quest down
to
there.
navigate.
That was literally my tale.
And I know you guys are going to be like, oh, well, Pixie, you have a mini-map because you're on PC and have add-ons.
I'm not even sure that would help in there.
No, that's what I was about to say. A, the mini-map is too small to really show like which area you have to like go around because of the impassable spots. And B, because I played on console for so many years, even though I have a mini-map, I consistently forget that it's there. It's right there in my face on the right side of my screen, but I consistently forget I have a mini-map. I don't know why my brain does this to me. I would honestly, and I discovered this before I got it on PC from watching a streamer, but you can walk while your map is open on PC, and that's way more helpful to me than a mini map. I can keep going in the direction. You can't sprint, but you can like just normally like meander along, and it just makes it easier for me to see which direction I'm actually moving whenever I'm going somewhere.
I do that a lot. I used to do that in like first-person shooters a lot when you could have like the wire like maps that you just put in the middle of the screen, and I just walk around a map when I was lost. So that kind of makes sense now that you say. I wish I could do that on PS4.
I don't know why it's not a thing on consoles, because it seems like something you should be able to do.
Yeah.
Well, you have to use your joystick to move on the map.
Oh, yeah.
But you also need your joystick to move your tune. See,
Oh,
Unless you just used the right
D-pad.
joystick for the map.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Or
Because,
you use the D-pad on the map.
Oh,
Because-
yeah, that could work.
yeah. Because what I'm thinking is, I think right joystick would make sense because the mouse on PC is the way you look, and that's also how you, like, obviously navigate around the map. So if they use your look thing, so that's another downside of opening the map while moving on PC is you can only go straight. So obviously your cursor is kind of
Right.
being used.
Preoccupied.
But you should totally, you could totally like use your right thumbstick to navigate the map and then just continue moving. And I don't know. I don't know why I like that feature so much, but I really do. And yeah, this isn't like a PC brag. It's just those things I have no idea why it's not a thing.
Yeah, that's not fancy or add-on or anything like that. That just seems like a quality of life thing. That's like, oh yeah, I think I would like that too. Actually, now that you say it, it's like, oh yeah, I think I would like that.
It's more useful to me for whatever reason than the mini map that's right there in my face that I can also move and look at myself moving. I just forget it's there so often that I just pull up my map. But yeah, that's it for my tales. Got lost in Blackreach, saw a creepy thing, and died a bunch, and had a dragon scream at me.
Neat.
I like
I love
Blackreach, even though it's very, very confusing.
It's so pretty.
And you're, as one final note to Blackreach from your tales, you're not alone because I think actually Hazard from chat was in the zone with me maybe when it was happening when we first went down into Blackreach. Usually we suggest like, okay, zone chat's a mixed bag. You never know what you're going to get there. People are usually, there's a good mix of toxicity when you have this many people in one place and stuff like that. I had mentioned somebody ruining the storyline for me in zone chats. I was like, okay, that's not great. But on the positive note of things where not everything's awful all the time, when I was down in Blackreach for the first time and I was roaming around, I'm like, dude, how do you navigate down here? The way shrines are all over the place, but then some of them are too close together. Like, what is happening? And all I see in zone chat was just people popping up like, this place is a maze. I'm lost. Other people like, F this, where am I going? I don't know how to get to that Harrow Storm. And then one person in the middle of this barrage was, it's so pretty, I don't care that I'm lost. And everybody's like, well, yeah, that's a given. It's like, yeah, I've been lost for an hour and I don't even remember what I was looking for. But there's so many geodes. I was like, well, at least everybody's enjoying the pretty sights. Like,
I do have one more thing that I meant to put in the notes and just completely forgot about because I was scrambling with all the dumpster fires as we were getting started.
Yeah, no, it was a smooth transition to start this show.
So I actually did try out ESO on Stadia because I have a MacBook and I'm like, well, this is hard to game on. So I just, since I don't even need to like take up any disk space or anything for Stadia and I had a free trial still active, figured I'd try it.
Yeah.
So whenever on launch day, I was able to get in and I used my PC first. I'm like, okay, PC versus I can do the local version and then hop into Stadia and just compare it. So I have a 1440p monitor and I had heard from, I think it was Pylon, but I could be wrong, from UESP, that on Stadia, it's at the moment, it's supposed to support 4K for like all its games. At the moment, ESO is stuck at 1080. It looked bad on my monitor compared to the actual game running on my PC. But it's like, okay, that's kind of expected. This is running on some VM essentially, somewhere. This is running local. I kind of knew that there was going to be some discrepancy there. But hey, it's cool that I can log in and do this thing. And it was super fast to log in. Didn't have a long time. It was just nice. It was just like it was on my machine. So I did the same thing on my MacBook. And because my MacBook, it was just smaller display, so I didn't see it as pixelated as I did on my desktop. It could also be that it was a week later because it was today that I tried this. It was a week later, so it looked nicer. So it could have just been lower server load on the Stadia side. So on launch day, they did mention that if you had already purchased Greymoor on PC, if you wanted it on your Stadia version of your account, you would have to purchase it again on the Stadia side of things. So I'm like, okay, I'm not going to do that because I just paid for the digital collector's edition on PC, and I'm just kind of doing this as an experiment. Anyway, I can use Moonlight to stream it to my MacBook. No big deal. But I wanted to go ahead and test it out. So I did try to jump into the zone on launch day, and it said, you need to purchase this content. I was like, okay, so it works. They didn't just gift everyone Greymoor on accident again. Until today. I forgot that add-ons weren't a thing for Stadia. Yep. And so I was like, oh, I can log on and do my writs, not realizing that Lazy Writ Crafter was not going to be a thing. So I logged off pretty quickly. But,
but you can still do them.
I can. But why do them that way? I did writs the long way for like 3.5 or 4 years. Yes. I've done my time.
That's an add-on I don't fault anybody for, because it literally requires no talent. You just walk up to something and press square the adequate amount of times and prove that you can read what it says to build.
Right. And I consistently used to build the wrong thing. So all
right, there is a skill check.
It was mainly like it would tell you to make 3 things and be like, all right, this, and I'd just be repeating it over and over and again in my head. I'm like, I'm pretty sure it's this, but I want to double check it, and then I double check it, and either I was right, and I have to just then go back into the UI, which takes a little bit of time, or I was wrong. It's like, oh, I'm glad I checked this, or I just made the wrong. Yeah, I managed to screw it up. So Lazy Writ Crafter is great. But anyway, so when I had logged in on day 1, I had logged in on my main, who was in Western Skyrim. It kicked me out. I don't remember where it plopped me, but it wouldn't let you load into Western Skyrim at all if you didn't have it purchased through Stadia. I loaded into my crafter because after, on launch day, I had switched back to compare it then to PC. I wanted to make sure that there wasn't some kind of weird glitch where I was going to get locked out of Western Skyrim on my PC account too. So I poured it in there, and it was fine. And that's where I left my crafter, was just at the Solitude Docks Way Shrine. This morning, I opened up Stadia. I was like, I'm just going to hop in, do my writs. And my crafter is standing at Solitude Docks Way Shrine. It did not kick me out. So I'm like, oh, well, this is probably definitely an exploit of some sort, but I want to know if it's just because this is where I left my character and it just couldn't find a suitable location to port me to, or if... So I was like, I'm just going to port out and see if I can get back in. See where that like check is for if you have Greymoor. Right. I ported out, was able to get right back in. And so I just ended up with Greymoor while I was there. So I did file a bug report for it because obviously that was not the way they intended it. I told them, like, look, I'm more than happy to continue playing Greymoor here as well.
Yeah,
but I feel like a bad person.
Yeah.
So, very honorable of you.
Yeah, I mean, I was real tempted. I was like, man, I just want this to be just the way they make it, where I can just log in remotely like this. And it's like, I just need to tell them.
So, question from chat. You used to use it on, you had used it on Moonlight before. Better or worse?
So, because I can use add-ons, Moonlight's better.
Okay.
If we're taking add-ons out of it...
Yeah, go with performance, let's say.
Performance is about the same. I think it looked crisper on Moonlight.
Mm-hmm.
I did notice, like, whenever I was just in Tideholm with nobody there, there were stutters, and I was surprised. It was not super smooth.
Okay.
I don't know. I wasn't as impressed as I'd hoped I'd be with Stadia performance.
Yep.
But I do know with Moonlight, too, I would get stutters also. Now, I was not using a wired connection. Whenever I did do it on my PC, it was like a super quick thing. Mm-hmm. So on my MacBook, running through Alinor gave me stutters. Just walking through Tideholm, they work really quick. So I wouldn't be able to do a Vet DLC dungeon with it, but like questing would be fine.
Gotcha.
So it just kind of depends on what you're looking to do on Stadia. Like if that's your primary way to play the game and you want to get all of your achievements on Stadia and all of that, I don't really recommend that if you want to do high-end game content. it'd be real difficult because of the extra lag.
Yeah, I can understand that.
But same thing with Moonlight. I would notice on Moonlight I'd get those same kind of stutters, and characters would suddenly talk really, really fast to me, and then they'd catch up to themselves and be fine.
Okay.
So it's pretty much even for me, but at least on Moonlight I still get my add-ons. But for somebody with no PC who wants to play with PC friends, and just go do quests and normal dungeons, it'd be fine.
Yeah.
Just in-game stuff, that would be real difficult.
Yeah, it sounds similar to the situation with PS4 remote play, that thing where I was playing on my phone type of thing. Same idea. It's like, okay, the input lag was actually surprisingly small, but it's just awkward to play on a screen that small.
Yeah.
And actually, when I stream, that's sometimes how I actually just stream it. I'll just like remote play to myself.
Okay.
And I'm just like, this saves me wiring and all this stuff for like using a capture card. I was like, I'll just remote play to my own laptop, and I'll actually play on my laptop just using remote play.
Smart.
Yeah, it's just like, it's a quick setup if I ever need to. So.
Something else that's just a quick mention is whenever you load in on a character on Stadia, you do get the actual corresponding Stadia achievements for any achievements you have already completed on that character in ESO.
Wow, that would probably...
So it'll actually be saved to your Stadia account too.
Yeah, that would probably explode if I did that the first time. I was just like trying to backlog through everything.
Yeah, it just kept popping up with
oh my god,
blah 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 Conqueror. I'm like,
yes.
oh well, this is going to be going off for a while.
Yeah,
I don't think it like popped up for all of them, but it does double for all of them.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. Your camera got all fuzzy. There you go.
There we go.
Autofocus. Okay, that's noted. Interesting.
Now I'm really done, I promise.
Or are you? What is Rainway? That's another... Did you try Rainway?
Oh, I did not try Rainway yet. It's another like cloud gaming type of deal where you play your own games.
Another
I
option.
need to remember to go try that because it's like you're playing the games you own, kind of like GeForce Now, from what if I'm remembering right.
Yep.
I mean, GeForce Now ESO was removed from that. I need to see if
Which
we can do.
When we speculated, like there has to be some behind the scenes reason that this got pulled. I think literally the fact that Stadia has a contract with them explains all of that.
Yeah.
And they
Definitely.
can't, they more or less, they physically can't pull it from like stuff like PS4 Remote Play, which it's like, well, that's not in your wheel. Like that's been authorized through PlayStation, so PlayStation's own app can do it. And I assume I don't know if Microsoft has a version of it or whatever. I heard.
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah, I've heard that they haven't, but I'm not entirely sure on that. So that's. I do know people have tended to lean much more toward NVIDIA than Stadia, from what I've been hearing. I'm very glad to anybody that is enjoying Stadia or can get some type of use out of Stadia. But when that product was first announced, I was like, this is not going to probably go very well. And I know financially it's not going very well, but that's not necessarily the product itself. I just don't think it was necessarily marketed so great. And Google has a lot of money, so they can, if they're determined to work with it, they can figure it out. But just like their marketing model seems very peculiar, just in terms of like, we have to buy Greymoor specifically there. It's like, well, you're not even buying anything. You're just renting it to begin with because you're renting everything through them, which Google's track record makes me uneasy with renting anything. It's like, no, you totally own it. It's like, you're saying that so that I give you money, not because I actually own anything. I mean, ESO, if the servers go down, surprise, none of us own squat when it comes to this game. You can't play it offline, but like... Skyrim, if you were to buy it on Stadia, if Stadia decides, we're good with that, you literally can't play it. And it's like, well, I still own it. It's like, but we turned the servers off and everything's our client, like everything's server side, nothing's client side. So
that's why I like GeForce Now, is because you're playing the games that you already
own. Right. Yep, for sure. All right. Promethean?
Yeah, since we can't really go into story too much, like spoilers, I finished the main story.
Nice. You run into
yeah,
the boss
that's where-
glitch that some people had at the end.
The what?
The boss can be undefeatable for some people. Kids still can't beat the main
No.
story.
Poor kids.
I beat the main story.
Okay.
I'll leave it. I'll leave it at that for now.
Okay.
I will say so piggybacking off of Pixie and Greymoor, I hated Greymoor in Skyrim. Like I cannot tell. Like they're like, okay, go get the Elder Scroll, and I'm like, all right, I need to get the Crimson Nirnroot, the Elder Scroll, kill the dragon, collect all my Falmerkite, and like literally do it all. I was like, I never want to come back.
Yeah. Blackreach is a one and done.
Yeah, and Blackreach is not a one and done in ESO, and I absolutely hate it. And it's really making it difficult for me to go back and finish Skyrim.
Ouch.
Because I hate Blackreach.
Interesting.
And it also like comes down to, like you said, like the map. The user interface is really unfriendly. Like I was like, oh, this way shrine's on my quest or my like compass, so it's got to be pretty close. So let me just grab it before I go do this quest. And I ran to the other side of Greymoor. And I was like, so this is not anywhere near my quest. And so that was really, and I was like, okay. So
Blackreach having the 3 districts is brutal on the waypoints.
Awful. And even within the districts, it's really bad. And I'm just really struggling to get back into it. But I love, like, you take me up top and it's nostalgia times 100.
Yep.
I was doing the quest and you end up in the courtyard of Castle Dower. And I was like, oh, I remember that's where I shoot What's-Her-Face from the Dark Brotherhood quest line. And then I was like, oh, you get caught by the guards up there on that bridge. And I was like, this is awesome. So it's definitely like one of those things where I absolutely love the top part of Western Skyrim. But as soon as I get into Blackreach, I'm like, good lord. It is stunning though. Like Greymoor Keep, absolutely beautiful. I love the architecture. I took at least 10 screenshots and I haven't gone back to do the side quest yet. So it's stunning. I just literally hate it. And there's no way around that because I don't think I will ever like Blackreach. Yeah, I have that big, huge, like, because Skyrim was like the only game I played for years, so I have that huge, like, legendary collector's edition book that takes you through everything.
Oh, yeah.
Like, pull-out map.
Yep, love that
you
thing.
get. And I would literally just put that on the floor and, like, navigate my character around Blackreach and grab all the little Nirnroots along the way and then just leave. And I was like, I'm done. Bye. I don't know what it is, but man, I never want to step foot in there again. On a more positive note, I have gotten a bunch of ESO swag over the last week.
Yeah.
With Greymoor launching, I got my collector's edition. Figure I'll show this bad boy off. The Reliquary.
I love that thing.
Super nice.
So nice.
Yeah, this is super cool. I posted a picture. I have a really fun, since we need masks to be out in public, I have like a Skyrim mask that it says like mask on it.
I love that.
It has like armor and value and weight on it, which is really fun. So this gaming franchise has literally all of my money. And I'm patiently waiting for them to release the house in Blackreach to see if I actually like it enough to go buy it.
You can have one high point in Blackreach.
Yeah, I want to see if it sounds cool. It's called Bastion Sanguinaris. I'm like, that sounds like something I want. And I've been looking for a new house. Yeah, so I needed. The issue is that to preview it, you have to walk and find it. And that requires me to go into Blackreach.
How's that going for you?
Not well. At all. So that's, I mean, we're gonna skip over Blackreach.
You don't have to worry about the teenagers egging your house, though, because it's so difficult to find the front of it.
Yeah, the vampires won't be able to get in either.
Yeah. Those smarmy vamp teens.
The Falmer?
The Falmer throwing chorus eggs everywhere.
They're blind anyways, so if they could find the door, if I have sight and probably can't find the door.
Just bumbling around trying to find it.
Yeah. So if they find it, I might as well quit the game. But yeah, those are my spoiler-free tales. Not much, since Blackreach makes me want to cry.
Oh no.
That's rough to hear. That's rough to hear. I mean, I do agree with the navigation. So I get that.
I get it. Like, it's cool. You really couldn't put vampires in Overland Skyrim.
It would be weird.
Like, you couldn't be like, hey, there's this whole keep that you literally never heard about when you played TES5.
Yeah. It blew up when you got there. Like, well, I guess they could have blown it up. That could have been the end of the story.
Yeah, I mean...
Although then they'd have to remodel the map when it finished the story. Yeah,
they could have. It would have been really problematic. So I see why, like, putting it in Blackreach, part of Blackreach that we've never seen, because you really only see like one section of Blackreach when you're there. I get it. It's fine. Like, awesome job. Zone looks great. Absolutely love it.
Just don't want to be in it.
I don't ever want to be in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's super gorgeous, and the quests down there that I've done so far are really, really cool, and I really enjoy everything about the zone except the navigation. The navigation is painful. I get so lost. I get lost everywhere, but I get especially lost in Blackreach.
Yeah, for sure.
Everything else about the zone I absolutely love, and I feel like once I get to the point where I understand where I'm at and I'm down there enough to where I kind of have it like mapped in my brain and can get places without a map, I think it'll be a lot more enjoyable to go down there and like do the Hero Storm circuit and everything. But for right now, navigation's really difficult.
Okay. So I guess then if we go into my tales, I'll just piggyback on the Blackreach discussion before we can move into the things that either I very much do like or whatever, but we might as well get this is awkward and we don't really like just crapping on this, but okay. So here's my problem with Blackreach. Now, Blackreach, we've mentioned the navigation is definitely a bit of a mess. There's a few other things that I've run into other than Blackreach being a bit of a mess navigationally. The Hero Storms break down there. They just straight up break. Like, you will beat them and the urn will just hover there and it never ends. So the concept of you need to clear one to trigger the next one becomes impossible because it never clears.
So I had that happen Overland.
Okay.
Except so the urn vanished, but it was just consistent lightning strikes. And it just didn't end.
Okay, interesting. Well, then that's good to know that it's not, because I've had it happen specifically on the middle one. I think it's the dwarf one down in Blackreach at least 5 times. It is just straight broken, and you'll ask in zone chat, and people are like, go topside. We don't have Hero Storms down south anymore. They're just broken. And I don't know what happens that ever fixes it, because in any stint of time that I've been on, it has never fixed. For however many hours, there are just no Hero Storms in Blackreach, which is real problematic to do your daily of clear 3 Hero Storms when there's one Hero Storm that never goes away. I've never known it to happen topside, but so it might just be a universal thing. I thought it was a Blackreach problem, but maybe it's just in general, because I've run into it down there a couple times. It obviously resets at some point, because then on another day I'll go and they work again. But yeah, I don't know what's going on with those. I know they were trying to stem the farming circuits and stuff like that, because it's apparently not good for the health of the game, because people just get into power level mode or whatever. But like, they got to make these things less annoying. I know they're working, like looking at it, but it's like maybe even because there's 10 of them instead of like 3 anchors in a zone, make 1 upstairs, 1 downstairs always like popping up. Nobody's going to farm Blackreach. That's not going to happen. You're not... Oh, yeah, let's race around like we do in Arkhaniir. That's not going to happen. Like, nobody's going to try to do that.
We all get too lost.
Yeah, seriously. People will just be bumping into each other, dragging world bosses into Harrow Storms. It'll be madness. Nobody will...
There's two camps of people in Blackreach, and it's those who are lost and those who absolutely hate it. And that's it.
The other problem, based on that, it's actually just got brought up in chat. If you're trying to go to clear all of the positions, I know they do spawn everywhere, but there's no pattern at all. It's my universal problem with RNG. There's some chance that you will just get kind of screwed over when you're trying to do something specifically. I've cleared all 10 of them, so I can confirm that you can clear all 10 of them. But as it was just mentioned in chat, Hazard waited. Actually, I was going to say he's mentioned I've been with him for a couple of them. He's waited for 2 hours, and it won't pop at a specific site, just because it just keeps rolling other sites or it breaks or something like that. They've got to make something so that you can control it a little bit, because the first time you're trying to clear everything, it sucks if you can just never get the one you're looking for. It's just, it'll eventually come with time, but it's just kind of lame when you're trying to clear the map out or whatever. So I love the Harrow Storms. I just wish I hope to see them iron out the problems with them, because I think they would be way more fun if I could control how I actually play with them a little more. One of the other things I mentioned on Twitter, and it got like a lot of response, which I didn't know it was this big of a deal, was the antiquities bug, where the image doesn't line up with the item itself. So like when you're excavating, you could have the entire image unlocked and then fail, and it'll be like, oh well, nope, you didn't do the excavation right, because for whatever reason the object isn't aligned with the image for the object. So it's kind of hard to explain without like a visual representation. So I showed a picture of it and I highlighted it, like showing what it is. But if you uncover an object and you don't have it complete and you still have time, you need to try going in another direction, because it's not registering the image, it's registering the sparkles that will just kind of like shine around it. That's the image. The problem is the sprite for the image is offset from the sparkles. So if you can figure out the direction that the sparkles are going, you can save your digs still. And I've actually saved 2 purples and a gold lead at this point because of that. It's still a little annoying. I guess it's been fixed on PC. Yeah, okay, it looks like it's fixed on PC, so it'll probably be in our next patch. So that'll be good. Hopefully that will also fix the fact that we cannot use the fences in the Thieves Guild or the Outlaws Dens. If we try to fence anything, we just get a UI error. Yeah, some people haven't noticed because they weren't trying to fence anything stolen. You can only launder items. You can't fence anything. It's an unavoidable UI error anytime you try to sell anything to a fence. So don't try to sell anything to a fence. Try to keep your criminal activities low for the moment. But I've got my scrying, my excavation up to level 8. I absolutely love antiquities. I know people are a little a lot of people seem to love it. Some people are lukewarm on it. Some people got bored with it. It's fine. It's definitely a relaxing activity. I love it. Like I said last time, it's exactly what I wanted. I got a super awesome Guar statue with really elaborate lore, and I mounted it above the entranceway to my house. Yep, big fan of that. That's probably the best thing I've earned so far. Let's see. And as for, I've started to do some of the controllable leads, like to find pieces of the Dwemer mount, like the Dwarven mount thing, the wolf mount. and some of them come from dungeons. So far, my RNG has been freakishly good as I've cleared Darkshade Caverns 1 and Volenfell, both of which have a piece. And on the first time I cleared them, I got both gold leads. So,
wow.
Yeah, I'm literally batting 1,000 at the moment. I am 2 for 2 on the only 2 dungeons I've tried to get the lead out of. I got the lead out of, so that's pretty solid.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that. I would like that to go on forever. One other note, I don't like this to sound totally like, here are all the errors and avoid them, but just for people's like kind of knowledge while I've been doing stuff, I have not been doing the story yet. It's weird, but I always play Skyrim in the fall and winter just because of the atmosphere, and that's very much like... It's hard for me to actually get too much into it because it is 97 degrees outside right now in real life. So playing in snow-topped peaks, I'm kind of like, nope, not feeling this. I'm going to the Somerset Islands and I'm going to go fishing or something like that. Like, it just, aesthetically, it's weird to me. Like, just timing-wise from where I live, it's just like, I'll probably just like do some Blackreach stuff because it's temperature-wise isn't really relevant down there for my immersion, I guess, if you're going on that aspect. But as for the dailies, they're a little wonky if you do them in a group, which usually we run as a group of like 3 or 4 of us, because you can share dailies. Like, everybody takes one, you share it to the group, and then you all go do it, you drop them off, the next person grabs their dailies, shares it to the group. You can go through 30 dailies really quick that way. The only time you can't get them is if you overlap and have the same daily. Problem is, if you're not in the same region as each other, sometimes, if you grab a quest item for the thing, it normally is like, congratulations, you grabbed it, it counts for all of you. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't in this expansion. I don't know what the deal is, which is rough, because if it doesn't, it will also take that item away from the other people. So now they just can't complete the daily. Period.
Oh, no.
Other times, like the one where you have to kill the hunters, and the side note is to feed its goat, we all went over and fed the same goat, and it fed it 5 times and immediately completed the quest. So we didn't need to do any of the other optional objectives. So the reason I bring this up, other than please be careful if you're doing this in a group, make sure you are close together. Do not run off away from each other because it can screw it up for other people. If it does get screwed up, our way of correcting it, whoever has the quest get borked, abandon the quest, have them reshare it. It will then repopulate whatever the quest is. So even if you're standing next to it, it will repop back up, and it will rematerialize the item, and it will bring you back to phase 1, and you just go from there. You can fix it. It's just, it's very weird how finicky these dailies are for some reason in a group. If you do them solo, it doesn't matter. You can't screw yourself out of them. But yeah, just a note: be very close together and work as a team if you try to do these in bulk. And then I figure I will end my tales with more Vetkind's Aegis, because everybody's been having interesting things with that. I have now tried it 3 times on Vet. Unfortunately, I've still not cleared it on Vet. I've cleared it on normal. I'm not going to harp on this too much, but it desperately needs work. I love that trial. It actually could be one of my favorites, if not my favorite trial. But it is just straight broken. It seems to be a memory leak, if I were to wager a guess. But at least from I know it happens on on PC. Don't know about Xbox. But at least from my perspective on the PS4, you need to beat that trial in less than an hour and a half. If you plan on having sound, if you plan on being able to use any input commands, and if you like playing in more than 5 frames a second. Because it's almost like clockwork. when you hit an hour and a half, that 2 hour and a half to 2 hour range, which when you're trying to go through it the first time, you can go over that. Like, the trial's not a joke on Veteran, at least. The game literally falls apart for us. All 3 of my trials have actually ended because of game-breaking errors, which is frustrating. Hopefully they've got something in the works to fix it, because I love the trial. And Vral, the dude at is the second main boss, we have gotten him very, very close. One of our last ones, we had him super close. We were like right into execute phase, and all of a sudden we all lost sound, so the game was mute. And it was like, oh no, this is getting awkward. And then all of a sudden my frame rate dipped to literally single digits, and I was like, I don't think I can block anymore because I can't do it. Like, I can't see what's happening. And as you get to the end, you get the lightning shade versions of him. So I was basically trying to block multiple things and buff myself, but at the same time, I couldn't input commands. So I got knocked out eventually, and then the off tank got smoked, and then like all of us kind of got smoked because it was just we couldn't process what was going on. We've had some decent results with resetting the system, where like if you log out and log back in, because reloading UI does not help at all. There's no noticeable difference. You do not get sound back. If you close the app and rejoin, it still doesn't even entirely fix it, which is crazy. Because one of our last things, because we had it so close to being through the final boss, or not final boss, second boss, the trial team was like, okay, we'll have Crown stay, and 11 people or 10 people will all drop. And then they'll all come back in, and then Crown and the other person can drop, and we'll come back, and hopefully that'll reset it because it's a brand new version of the game for everybody. And during that, we had people DCing and unable to reconnect because they would try to log back in, and they would blue screen again, trying to get back in. And when we started to get in, it didn't even fix it. Like, we got sound back, but then, like, we couldn't bar switch. And I'm like, I don't know how to fix this. Like, not to unnecessarily rip on them, but it's like, it's just, I know people have cleared it on PS4, and I don't know if we're just, like, hexed or whatever, but, like, 0 for 3 on performance is, like, a little bit defeating to the whole morale thing of, like, running a vet trial. Like, okay, well, we can't practice the last boss because we can't practice enough to get to the last boss, so really hoping that they fix whatever is up when they send the patch through, because I really want to play that more than I currently can, and it is pretty frustrating how poor that trial is working, at least for our group so far. On the flip side, we'll have that speed run down in no time, because now our approach is don't pick up items. We have no time to waste. Stop screwing around. Everybody book it as fast as you can to everything. So we have those ad pull. We can get into second fight within 30 minutes now because it's just like no time to mess around. We have a hard timer on. So when it works all the way, maybe be able to get the speed run when we finally do it because, yeah, it's been rough, but that's pretty much it. I took a pounding in Kind's Aegis because that place is a good challenge. I love that trial from what I've seen. So
it's really cool.
Yeah, I definitely really still want to try to finish it. And, hopefully it bounces out. I still want to give it some time, at least for the first patch to hit and see if they get it under control. Because it seems to be a memory leak because it's so specific where each time it's like, okay, it hits at this point. It seems like something's getting lost at the point of like, okay, that's a little too on cue to not be a specific error like that, I would assume. But,
right.
Yep. So when it works, and if you do it on normal, it's tons of fun on normal. So it's definitely a great trial. A big fan of it for what I've seen on Vet as well. But yeah, any final thoughts from anybody before we're done? I was gonna say, are we good? All right. Well, I was going to say, that I suppose is the end of our show. Have fun editing the whole beginning half of all of that there, Ark. Decided to make your Sunday an interesting one for you. Let's see. I've never actually read through this because Ark always does it, and I know it's changed since the last time I tried to read the outro, so I won't be reading that fast. But thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight over on my Twitch channel. Why don't we just let everybody know where they can find you? Pixie, I was going to say, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitch and Instagram at HyperPixie Gaming and on Twitter at HyperPixie Games.
And how about you, Promethean?
You can find me on Twitter at Promethean99 or on PlayStation if you need a friend.
And I am, as always, Lotus of Doom on Twitter. And if you happen to be here for this live show specifically, this would be my dumpster fire personally of my channel. So I'm Lotus of Doom on Twitch as well. Normally, you can find us over on the Dungeon Crawler Network Twitch channel. And on top of that, you can follow everything we do over at dungeoncrawlernetwork.com. There you can find links to all our social media, including the Twitch that I just mentioned, our YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. Be sure to check out our Patreon at patreon.com/dungeoncrawlernetwork if you want to help support the show. And consider leaving us a 5-star review on iTunes so people know that we are a real podcast, that we say real words. We occasionally break things at the starts of the show. And sometimes if you combine all of this together, it matters. Thanks, everybody, for joining us over here. I hope you got to enjoy what we brought to the table this week, and we will see you all next time. Have a great one, everyone. Good night.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
When Akatosh slew Lorcan, he ripped his heart right out. He hurled it across Tamriel, and the heart was heard to shout, red diamond, the heart and soul of men. Red diamond, protect us till the end. The laughing heart sprayed blood afar, a gout on Seer it fell, and like a dart shot to its mark down in an alien well. Magicka fused the Lorcan blood to crystal red and strong. Then wild elves cut and polished it down to Chimel at a ball. Red diamond, the heart and soul of men. Red diamond, protect us till the end. When elves lost Nirn to men, Akatosh gave the stone to Saint Alesh in token of her right to sit the throne. Red diamond, the heart and soul of men. Red diamond, protect us till the end. Red diamond, protect us till the end.